What's up, Surgeaholics, Sooner Nation? Welcome to the Sooner Surge. We've got a little new backdrop. All things new, trying to make changes here at the Surgeaholics and the Sooner Surge, always trying to improve. And it's Sunday night, 9:30 nightly live show. Hit the like before we get started here. Hit the like right now, please. That would help our channel more than anything. Do that for us. And we're ready to rock and roll with this one tonight. Portal news. Jay, not really anything today. You would think in the next few days there should be some news with several things.
Yeah, and I know the Mattier stuff. I know this weekend supposedly talking to family, seeing what he's going to do in that decision. So hopefully maybe by this week we'll hear something. You also got a lot of rumblings out there, I think, about Jjiren Bradley and some other guys. I would think just based off it's been a week and OU has one portal get and it's a punter, I would think there would be some movement this week if I had to guess.
Yeah, and the story of Jjiren Bradley visiting, I think there's going to have to be a decision there. If he leaves and there's nothing there, well, then you got to go elsewhere. Corrections 101. I got to add, hey, send me an email. I got a question. Corrections 101. OU Sports Roundup at gmail.com. Maybe Hunter can put it in the chat there. Would love to just send me an email. I want to send you something, Corrections 101. Anyway, moving on. What do you think about Jjiren Bradley? Jay, we love Jjiren Bradley.
I like him. Here's the thing.
Why did he not get much run at Boston College is the question.
I don't know a whole lot about what happened last year. I know if this would have happened 2 years ago or the year before last, I guess, a lot of people would be all in on Jjiren Bradley. And a couple of things I want to get to. Yes, Baker Mayfield, great game today. And Monty brings up Nick Bonito. He might win defensive MVP this year. And that would not be a stretch with the way he's playing. He might win defensive MVP. So
very well could, Jay. Yeah, I wore the yellow sweater, trying to get some sunshine going.
It's almost a mustard colored.
It is mustard, Jay. Colonel Mustard in the podcast room with the water instead of the Red Bull. Corrections 101 is new Sooner Surge Unlimited member. Corrections, you can email us at ousportsroundup@gmail.com. We'll send you the Discord link. Also have a question for you. Something I'd like to say.
Thanks, Correction. Yeah, 11 sacks, 2 pick sixes. Do you remember when he first played at Oklahoma when they were playing him at linebacker?
Oh, yeah.
What is the best memory that you have of Nick Bonito at OU?
It's the Baylor game, Jay. Everyone knows Baylor. That.
Yeah, the interception, unbelievable.
He dropped one. He dropped one and then got one.
Before we move on, I got to, smash the like button. I will say this. The last few nights, y'all have smashed it more than usual, and it's awesome. So keep doing it. But I got to say something. We got quite a bit of people on here. We talked about it last night, and prayers up to Jimmy Wilkerson the night before. And then they won the state championship. If you haven't read what Jenny Carlson put out,
go read.
I encourage it. But I also say this. If you have Twitter, please go to Carl Albert High School football Twitter and look at the video they released. I was tearing up. I was crying watching it. The video was drop them both in there, Hunter. The video was just really touching. It was just awesome, as far as awesome and sad at the same time. But I encourage people to watch it. I mean, this is holiday season. It was just kind of a lot to watch, but at the same time, I think if anybody's a fan of Jimmy Wilkerson, you would be touched by this video. It was great.
Correction.
Prayers up to the family.
It was an awesome article, and just a bittersweet night with everything, winning the state title, but all that 24 hours before. But Corrections 101. As soon as I am off this live, I'm going to send an email to you. Appreciate it. Supporting Missouri colors. No, this is a Colonel. This is a mustard color sweater. I love it. It's one of my favorite sweaters I have, and it's sweater season. So, Jay, let me ask you this, because Jjiren Bradley, the talk is he's going to be on campus, or maybe that's already happened. Mattier is supposedly making a decision sometime soon. Whatever that means, how soon that is, Jay, I don't know. Whether or not he stays at Washington State or comes to OU, those are the two guys I think that people are kind of waiting on, and maybe not even Bradley so much. But then who are some other names, Jay?
As far as in the portal right now?
Yes.
I mean, I think you still have – there's some people that haven't committed anywhere. You have the offensive tackle from Rice. He hasn't committed anywhere. I know you have the receiver out of Cal that's visiting Nebraska and K-State this week. And he just put on Twitter tonight, and it was a picture of both uniforms, players from both teams, basically like, these are my visits this week. Here's what I would say to that. To me, it's portal is interesting. And I think you could look at the last few years in the portal. If you're not at one of the first few visits, I think the chances of you landing a portal player is pretty slim. That's just my opinion. It's not like fact, but I just think in this world of NIL specifically, some of the teams that are, you would say, I mean, like K-State's in the Big 12, they're not in the SEC. Some of these teams can pay, they might pay more than you would be willing to pay. And they can do it because that's like, they may have one or two guys they want in the portal and they're going to go overpay for them. And you're not, I think if you don't get a first two visit, you're probably not going to land them.
Let me ask you a question. I think I talked to you earlier about this. And yeah, you're right, Platoon 20. Ole Miss is crushing the portal right now.
Lane is the portal king.
Obviously, Mattier said he's going to play in their bowl game. If he were to announce his portal decision, still play in his bowl game, you think? Because it's kind of odd to me.
If he announces he's transferring, I don't think he plays. That would be my guess.
It couldn't do any good. It would only hurt him to play in it.
Yeah,
and here's a conundrum for you. I mentioned this to you earlier, Jane. You said it's not a conundrum, and I agree with you. I agree with you. But let's just say he announces that he is going to be a Sooner, and it's before OU plays in the bowl game, and Michael Hawkins goes out in the bowl game and plays unbelievably well.
Jerm, if Mattier comes to OU, he's going to be the starter.
Agreed. 100%.
I mean, that's just my opinion. I know some people don't agree with that, but
Purple Orca, who's the bride? Who's the bride? If we're the bridesmaid, who's the bride?
Hey, real quick, I want to get to Dilligaff here because he mentioned Beers brothers. Yeah, the sister is OU basketball. Reagan
Rocky
Beers.
and Rowdy. Rocky and Rowdy,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. The other thing was this. Gregon mentioned some Washington State insiders saying he isn't playing bowl. We'll see.
Hey, you mentioned the Beers brothers, Jay, the twins, Reagan Beers' brothers. I think those guys are two good guys to get on campus. I would not be upset if they went and got him. But if Devon Mitchell is what everyone thinks he can be, he should probably be starting next year. And we're going to hopefully see him in the bowl game. But if Devon Mitchell is the 5-star that everyone thought about, that he was, and according to BV, 2 days ago or yesterday said he's really figuring out this tight end that he can play tight. Well, okay, BV. We all know that. He better be starting next year. Like, if that's the case, you could bring the Beers guys. You got Helms, Mitchell, and those guys. It's not a worse room than they had this year. That's what I'm going to say.
What do you think about this one? Are you surprised or
People
no?
aren't sold on him, Jay. I think here's what I would say about Malik Murphy. I think he would have to fit in some kind of scheme, the right scheme.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a good, talented player. Aaron says, if we get Mattier, can we calm down for a bit? I don't think
I'm not all amped. Like, I'm amped up, but I'm not all worried about like some people are. I mean, there's a lot of portal time, guys. There's a lot of players. There are a lot of players.
There is. There's a lot of time. There's a lot of players still to enter. But I think when you look at it, I don't think anybody's surprised by Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin is going to be probably the portal king as long as he's there. That's what he's going to do. I mean, so you just got to realize that.
I agree, Purple Orca. They need a couple of receivers minimum, probably 3 minimum. They need a quarterback. So if you get Mattier, Bradley, a couple more receivers, I would like to get a tight end for sure, and then an O-lineman out of the portal. On defense, James Thompson's a name to keep your eye on. He was supposedly in for a visit. He was at Wisconsin. Big guy, 6'5", 295. someone who can play in the middle as a depth piece. Because Jaden Jackson and Grayson Halton and David Stone are going to have that held down.
Yeah, Dillagaff said his son just asked why you're so mad, Jjiren. Why are you so mad?
I'm not mad at all, Mr. Dillagaff. I'm actually just excited because I love coming. Look, this is the time of the night where I can actually, I'm a little mad. My sons are in the other room being loud playing mini hoops. I've been schooling them all night, and now I leave and they're louder than ever. But it's great. I'm not mad, though. I'm not mad. This is fun.
Jordan, appreciate you joining us, as always. There's a big difference between playing quarterback at Washington State and OU. Washington State was 8-4, and we have a way tougher schedule next year. He may surprise me, and I'm not sure yet. Yeah, but I also think he would have better players around him than he had at Washington State. But you're right about that. You can't deny the schedule. The schedule's one of the toughest in the country, okay? I will say this. I said it before. There's one thing people can say. John Mattier wasn't as highly rated. John Mattier hasn't played the competition, but there's one thing you can't deny. He played in the same conference in high school as Michael Hawkins and Jackson Arnold, and he won Offensive Player of the Year. I mean, that's a fact.
That's true, Jay.
So he did play the same competition they played, and he won Offensive Player of the Year.
That is true, Jay.
So there is that.
Blero, they were epic, and there'll be some epic ones as Christmas gets closer when we're in the same household again. Jay, one thing that I've said two things, Jay. Two things about Mattier that I love more than anything. One, he knows the system with Arbuckle. That is by far and away the number one thing. Second of all, he does seem like a gamer to me. Okay, whether or not he can make all the throws, I can't tell you that yet. But those two things, and I will say this: if you're going into the SEC, it is better off having a guy who knows the system that you're wanting to run. When they start implementing offense and implementing plays and looking at scheme, a guy that's already gets it at the quarterback position is pretty big.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal, Jjiren. Mattier got that Baker swag. It's hard to compare him right now. I know a lot of people do that comparison.
Jay's on a computer. I'm on a phone. If I held my phone up higher like this, does that help? Nope.
I could turn my camera like this, but I don't want people looking straight up. So it is what it is, Lori. Germany needs to get a computer. That's what it comes down to. Get off your phone, get a computer.
Hey, I hate to say this, Sooner Freak 29. If Mattier comes in, he's starting unless something happens. I just can't see a world where he's not. If Arbuckle is so good, how come people aren't jumping on the offensive side? Well, Deion Burke stayed, so that's big. You get Gibson to stay. No running back has entered the portal, Jay. Not one running back has entered the portal besides Hicks.
You're right.
Hicks did. Hicks did, but the guys that have played did not. The O-linemen. What O-linemen have hit the portal that played?
Yeah, but you could go down the list of a lot of guys that didn't play a whole lot entered the portal. I understand where you're going from here. The other thing I was wanting to get to, I agree with Dillagaff here. I love the competition part of it, and I think there should be. But and I know a lot of people say this: Mattier isn't coming to sit. Well, of course not. He's not. But also, they're going to pay him, and if they're going to pay him and sit him, I think that'd be surprising too. I just think the pay thing, if you're paying a guy $1.5 million, $2 million, whatever he's going to get if he comes to you. First off, if. Second off, he's not in the portal yet.
Correct.
I know the decision is looming with him because you've heard all the talk about it, but he's not in the portal, and we'll see when he does if he chooses OU. I think there needs to be competition with Michael Hawkins, period. I don't care if it's Mattier or anything. They need competition at the quarterback ranks. Go through OU's quarterbacks over the last 10 years. A lot of years they had two really good quarterbacks. One of them sitting.
Hey, Bishop is right. Josh Bates did it in the portal. Should Peyton Manning? Yeah, looking back, Manning obviously was worthy of a Heisman Trophy, but can't change things.
Yeah. He's coming to OU, no if, and he will be handed the job just like Jackson Arnold. I would think he would be.
So Eric says he's coming to OU now too.
What's that?
I was trying to read the comment. Looks like Eric thinks he is coming to OU. He might go to Miami.
I think that's where Hunter kind of thinks he might too, but
Miami's going to go after him. But OU, with everything so close and who he knows, and the quarterback coach also coming to OU, I mean, I already put in the Discord when something earlier, and I'm not going to say it on here. So stays in the Discord.
What happened in the Discord stays in the Discord? Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Gosh, there was some Sooner fan.
I don't know. I think he's a program guy, and his brother's there, right?
Well, I don't even want to get into that. And I'm not going to make any assumption on anybody if they're gone or they're staying. I don't like doing that. I mean, I know that's part of it with NIL.
Until something happens, there's no use to really talk about that anyway.
That's true. We'll see.
And I do think Hawkins is going to improve a lot with having a quarterback coach, okay, and having a scheme that may be fitting his style is better as well.
Do you have inside knowledge, Jjiren?
I have had I don't know why that's funny.
What?
I actually do have a couple of inside sources, Jay, but
really,
whatever. Hey, here's a name, Jay, that hasn't been talked about since in a while. Is Kendall Daniels. What visits is Kendall Daniels making?
Don't know. That's another name out there. There's guys out there that you saw. Caleb Hicks committed to OSU today. I wasn't surprised after seeing his visit on Instagram the other day. I hope Caleb Hicks does really good at OSU. I like Caleb Hicks. I was hoping he would play some at OU. I don't think he ever got a shot. I was kind of disappointed in that.
Boats and hose. I think by Tuesday, personally, but I mean,
I would think
everything that Wazoo has said, which was they kind of threw a package out there, and he was supposed to be with his family to talk about it. Like, you're not going to wait longer after that. You make a decision. So,
yeah. Hey, Hawkins can redshirt. Hawkins can redshirt any year he wants. He couldn't this year. He played too much. But I don't think OU risked. I think OU, if he's the backup, he's going to play some. Yeah. Like, as in, if they're winning games, he's going to come in and get. But you can redshirt. Yeah, of course you can. I don't know if they would, but you can.
Timeline on anyone committing. I'll tell you the timeline quickly. In Mattier's case, I would hope in the next 48, 72 hours. Jjiren Bradley, supposedly on campus visiting. James Thompson. If OU's going to land those guys, it's going to be sooner, pun intended, rather than later. And then other guys. I know someone said they don't think Kendall Daniels will go to OU. I'm just curious where they think maybe where he would go. Big Kendall Doby fan. What do you think will happen with – I think he's either going to come back or – like, I don't think he's going to go pro.
What do you mean?
I would think he's going to come back.
Well, you could say that his
bad injury, though, guys.
Yeah, his injury really hurt him. I think he was having such a great year. He had a great year last year. He was going to have another good year. I hope he's back. I don't know injury-wise. I don't know future-wise, all that. I really like Kendall Doby. And I wish OU would get some of the JUCO guys. I love the JUCO ranks, man. Love it.
By the way, you can redshirt any year you want. Yes, you can redshirt. It can only be once. You can redshirt any of your years, but it can only be once. Now, there are other redshirts or hardships like medical where you get an extra year, but one redshirt is all you get. I don't know what Bradley's 40 time is. Hey, Nick Anderson's 40 time wasn't Brennan Thompson fast. Jjiren Bradley would provide you some height, some physicalness. Jay, do you think the coaches look at, okay, here's who's left. Let's get Daniels to replace McCullough. This guy, I don't think they do that. This guy to replace Anderson. We want the same type of body type, and I don't
think that, but I think they go off needs. Yeah, I think they go off needs. If you need a wide receiver, you're going to go try to get a wide receiver out of the portal. I mean,
Emmett Jones and Jjiren Bradley's relationship, we already know is good. So I would be absolutely just shocked if Jjiren Bradley's not a Sooner. I mean, he didn't play much at Boston College. Why would he not go to OU if they offer him? It's closer to his family. Emmett Jones and him have a good relationship. There's a starting position open right now. Like, you want to come in and play immediately? Wide receiver at Oklahoma.
Hey, wide receiver at Oklahoma. I really like Deion Burks. I know he got injured. I really like Jaden Gibson. He was injured. That's the one thing you don't know. Even that they're come back next year, Gibson comes back. What you don't know is how they're going to be because they're coming off injury. And you would hope that everything's good, but Gibson, I mean, he's been at OU. What would this be, his third year or fourth? Third. Am I right?
Yes.
Third or fourth?
I thought it. Let's see. He redshirted.
He's a Nick Anderson year, right? Same year.
Same year as Anderson.
So this will be his fourth year.
Will be his fourth. He's been on 2 years, I believe.
Correct. So what I'm saying is in 3 years, you haven't got to see a whole lot about him. So it's hard to know. I think he's got the talent to be really dang good. You just haven't seen enough of him.
Hey, appreciate you listening and being on Corrections 101. Check your email late tonight. Prayers for you and your family as you're going to a funeral. Prayers for you guys. I see they're talking about Hawkins in the chat. I think it's time to open the phone lines, Hunter.
Yeah,
drop in there.
And I need to answer Monty's question. It says, I thought the SEC had a rule you couldn't transfer. And did I miss something? Yeah, that's the spring portal window. That's not right now. In the spring, when the portal opens in the spring, you can't transfer in conference in the SEC.
Yeah,
that's the difference. Not in this window. Not in this window. Only spring.
Jen says, I hope they do away. Jay, you mentioned this. Do away with redshirt. Just give them 5 years. Forget the redshirt. Give everyone 5 years. They can play as many games as they want every year.
I agree. That's what I would do.
Do it. Guess what, though, Jen? NCAA won't. You know why? It makes too much sense. They won't do it.
I don't think any position on the offense can be worse than this year, Sooner for Life. Can't get any worse. We got Greg on the line. What's up, Greg?
Hey, fellas. What's up? So if Mattier comes, I hope he's everything we hope and dream he is. But just given the job to some quarterback that has all the hype and all the buzz with no real competition sounds a lot like the mess we got ourselves in earlier this year. I'm hoping we don't replay that again.
I agree with what you and Eric have said on that. And I said the same thing. If he's coming, I think he's going to be the starter. And coaches can say there's competition, but I would think they would be bringing him in to be the starter, right?
I agree. I mean, if you're going to pay him as much money as, the message boards like this are saying he's going to get, I mean, yeah, you're not going to sink all that money into a player and set him on the bench. I wish there was another way to do this because I think a competition is the best way to go about it. And
how do you do it, Greg? If you want to go get a quarterback to start, I mean, how do you do it? If you go get a guy you're going to go find a guy that's equal to Hawkins or I mean, this guy might be equal to Hawkins. They might be the same, but his value in the portal is just seems to be higher,
It does.
The other way to look at it, Coconut, is Hawkins is a second-year guy now. He'll be a second-year guy. Won't know the system at all. Like, if Mattier isn't clearly more ready, then there's a bigger issue.
I agree. And I think surely he would be, with the other guy or the guy, what's his name, Arbuckle, being his former coach and knowing the system. But I think at some point it's like, are we going to worry about the money? Or are we going to pay the best guy and win? Because at some point, if Hawkins is truly better, I think you just got to bite the bullet, eat the money and play the best guy. Not saying that would be the case, but I don't know. It just makes me a little nervous.
I 100% agree. It's a nerve-wracking thing because first, I don't like ever making, and whether or not they make promises, I just don't like that mindset mentality of, hey, here's who the starters are going to be. I don't like that at all. And all we heard last year during the preseason was Hawkins was better than Arnold.
Yeah. Now, what do you think he was? Yeah, I mean, there's an argument maybe he was. I don't know. If Hawkins had stuck out the majority of the year, maybe he could have proven himself to be better than Arnold. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
That's all I got. Thanks, guys. See you.
Hey, thanks, Greg. Appreciate it. Hey, and one thing KB Longhorn says, which, hey, appreciate you being on here, KB. Good to see you on here. They could try developing Yeah, that's a great comment there. Great thought. I mean,
Archie Manning sat 2 years.
I think too many times nowadays that, and this is from a fan perspective, I think a lot of fans want people to play right away, and in the best interest of the team and them personally and their goals, it might be best if they sit. Now, I don't know the situation. I'm just saying there's been plenty of quarterbacks come through Oklahoma, come through other schools that sit a year or two and develop and then play and get really good. So it's something you got to figure out as coaching staff.
You are right, KB, and you're right, Jay. And the sad thing is, even as fans, we bought into this mentality. I'm done with it, too. I'm done with it. As fans, we cannot be this way. We cannot be this way as fans. And the mentality I'm talking about is to basically shove development out the window and say, yeah, these guys need to just go elsewhere if they're not playing here. Hogwash. These guys should sit for a year, anyone across the board, and get developed and be ready to rock and roll. That's how a lot of the big-time programs are doing it, Jay. That's how a lot of them are. Yeah,
and I understand where Phil was coming about too. Yeah, guys will hit the portal. And then Bobby says developing is just as risky. Invest 2 years in a guy and pro like coaching. That could happen too. It's all a risk. You got to figure out the best way to do it. It's December, 16th, 15th. It's about 10 o'clock in the evening, Chuck. And guess what, Chuck? I was wrong. There we go. I said it again. I was wrong. I bought into the hype. Here's the thing.
By the way, he did sit a year.
Yeah. The development thing.
Anyway, I'm not going to talk about it. Go ahead.
The development thing, maybe you look at a guy like Arbuckle who's proven that he's developed quarterbacks. That's the thing where I'm coming from. Like if you have past experience of developing quarterbacks, then maybe it's good to sit out because to have a year into that. You can say in the past few years, OU hasn't had anybody developed in a lot of areas. That's been part of the problem. They just haven't. Quarterback wise in the last 2 years, they did not see very much development.
No, they didn't. Hey, Platoon 20, I love what Dion said. I absolutely love this when he said it, but here's the problem. He can't force them to play, and they probably all won't play. But, hey, would love it if they all did. Anyway, Jackson Arnold is Thornton 2.0. We're going to see how good Jackson Arnold is at Auburn with Hugh Freeze. Money may talk, but character, passion, knowledge, execution, integrity is a powerful football combination. I agree. All those things, passion for the game, knowledge of the game, execution for sure. All those things can be very, very valuable in the sport. You got to have a lot of it.
Yeah, but and Chuck, I understand this too. I think you're right about this, but I think that's just in general. A lot of fans, I mean, me included, a lot of people have become this. I want the next best thing. Like, oh, we got a 5-star quarterback. I want to see him play. That's why I will give it up to the Texas Longhorns for the Arch Manning situation. The way Sark has handled that, he sat 2 years pretty much, played a little bit this year, but you also got to look at the family. The family said they wanted development. That's why they chose Texas.
And he may win the championship for him. If Ewers struggles early, I don't think they'll hesitate.
I think
it could be a Tua. It could be a Tua Jalen Hurts thing when you get down to that. Hey, Purple Orca 40 says, I said it once. I'll say it again. Bowl games don't matter. Absolutely right. You're right. I've said it too. The only thing I want to see in this bowl game is the young guys play. I want to see Devon Mitchell's, even Caden Helms at tight end. I want to see young receivers, I just want to see some receivers because hopefully they still have a few. Of course, Taylor Tatum. I want to see all the young guys. Defense, I want Boganowski running around. I want Reggie Powers running around. Hardy, I want to see them all out there because it's about next year. The bowl game does not matter for this year, Eric. You're wrong. It doesn't matter for this season. Zero chance. It matters 0%.
It does matter. You don't want to be 6 and 7. Real quick, Jerm, leader of the defense next year, who would you say? Give me 2 names.
Leader of the defense.
Tip Lewis has to be one.
Or Mason Thomas if he comes back.
And then R. Mason or RSJ. RSJ, those three are,
Hey,
I think, the guys.
Eric, you're going to get mad with what I'm about to say. You cannot ever come at me and say we've lowered our standards. To me, the only games that matter are the playoff games. So if you're saying the bowl games matter, I guess lowering standards. They may matter for the players who want to win another one. Let's win our last game as a Sooner. Rah, rah, rah. Other than that, it's about next year. It's about young guys developing. Now, it matters for development. Yes, I agree. It matters for development. It doesn't matter for this season. If it mattered for the season, people don't opt out of them, Eric. If they mattered, people wouldn't opt out. Yes, it matters for that. I agree. Hey, Selwyn, I agree. It matters for reps and practices. Absolutely. Absolutely does.
Gentry Williams, I think, if he play, the problem is he just hasn't been healthy.
Agreed, Chuck. Real dogs want to win. I said it matters. Some of the players are going to say, yeah, let's go win this football game. But in the grand scheme of things, it does not matter for this season at all. For this season, it doesn't matter.
And, somebody mentioned Kendall Dolby earlier. Kendall Dolby is a guy next year. If he gets back healthy and can play, he could be a leader and a vocal leader on that team, on that defense. He's been around me 3 years.
Kendall Dolby could be a leader, Jay.
I just wonder what kind of injury how that's going to work coming back. That's the only thing I don't know yet.
Yeah, what's up? I haven't heard anything on that. Have not heard anything on that.
No, me neither. So, and I agree with this. Eric, I agree with you here. The narrative of a 6-7 season nationally will not be good. If OU goes and loses to Navy, it will not be good. I would agree with that.
And I would rather. Hey, first off, don't get me wrong. I'd rather win the bowl game. I'm just saying 6-7, or if a team wins a bowl game and is 8-6 or 7-7, in the grand scheme of things, it does not matter at all. It doesn't matter. Recruits have already made decisions.
And it would be his first bowl win, though. It'd be Brent Venables' first bowl win at Oklahoma, which would be a big deal for him.
It matters for the practices.
Bobby's with you, Jeremy. Hey, Boats and Hose asked this earlier. O-line thoughts. And I think he's asking portal-wise what they got coming in. I think they got a lot of young talent on the O-line in Oklahoma. I think they need some experience to fit in with that offensive line group that they have that's young. I think you need one or two guys that are experienced.
Where at? Would you prefer tackle, guard, center, what? What's the biggest need on the O-line?
Well, based off pass protection, I'd say tackle. That would be me based off pass protection last year, Durham. Now, I think Dent didn't play enough. I think he could be good. Howland was getting better, but I think you need a guy that can just solidify one of those sides.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just me.
2 tackles, 1 interior, Bobby says. Playing a ball game in Dallas-Fort Worth area during Christmas break is actually a positive with early. It is a positive as far as where you're playing, because you can not even worry about watching film or worry about anything else except getting to recruits' houses.
And, hey, Hunter, I agree with Howland as far as the way he's built, the way he could the development. I think he could be really good down the road. I just wonder, once again, it's next year. It's a brutal SEC schedule. Have you seen enough for him to be the starter at left tackle? If you could get a portal guy that's played really good at other schools, maybe you go there and you develop him again. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not an offensive line coach. I don't want to claim to be. So,
Richard, Richard, it sounds like R. Mason Thomas is playing the bowl game. So I guess it does matter to him. And Richard, if R. Mason and those guys that are normally playing are playing, I don't see that Navy's going to be running the ball all over OU based on this year. Jay, there was something else I wanted to get to about, and I'm not going to be able to find it here. Brandon says our O-line was getting there at the end. Run blocking, yes. Pass blocking was still atrocious, though.
Yeah, but they were getting better. But the thing is,
it was getting better.
Yeah, and I think if you read, I don't know, I don't want to speak for any of the players, but kind of if you read Danny and Billy's kind of exit letter, I would think they're probably not playing. That's just me. I don't know why you would personally. I mean, I don't want to speak for anybody. I'm just saying, like, but yeah, letter had the NFL logo on it, Hunter said. So,
hey, guys, everyone that's on here, there's a lot of you on here. Hit the like right now. Just hit the like. It takes a second. And later, go check out the Fan Stop. You can see the logo there, thefanstop.com. Sign up for the Shirt of the Month Club. Look for Christmas gifts. If you sign up for the Shirt of the Month Club, even if you're not an OU fan, if you have a cousin or an aunt that's a different college football team fan, you can sign up for that college's Shirt of the Month Club. Great Christmas gifts, thefanstop.com. Also, John says he'll hit the like if he likes it. Totally right. It's your prerogative. You can do that exactly. Yes. Hey, Jay.
yeah.
Juan Blero says Hunter February cannot get here fast enough. Talking about baseball. Ron, that's a weird question, Ron.
Of course. I mean,
hey,
of course.
And so, it was Chuck. Chuck asked if any receivers committed this weekend. No. Did any receiver come on campus? No. Jjiren Bradley is early this week.
OU has one portal addition right now, and that's the punter. That's it so far. I think this week they get some more, hopefully. They're going to need some more. So, Jason Murphy, did anyone discuss how we won the SEC today? Signed it. Yeah. Well, that was yesterday, Murphy. Tom.
Okay. First off, Tom, I can't see who likes the button. And I'm going to tell you something else, Tom. I really appreciate you being on here, but we never we're not going to show one person's comments over another because they give us a super or hit a like. We're just rolling through the chat best we can. So yeah, I'll show a comment. Maybe Hunter can show one of your comments. It's hard for me to see them all, but I'm definitely not playing favorites here. I promise you that. Appreciate you being on here. Can we get a kicker that can kick out of the end zone? Actually, Schmidt did pretty well this year.
Schmidt was great.
LSU he wasn't.
Yeah, but other than that, I thought Schmidt was outstanding at kicking off. I do think it's kind of. I got to say something. I do think it's kind of funny, and I get the narrative. You signed a kicker, okay, and I get that narrative. But at the same time, Luke Elzinga was one of OU's better players this year. They
had to replace him.
They needed somebody to replace him. So they got somebody. I get it. It's out of the portal, and it's the first one. I saw somebody today said maybe OU should have waited to make that announcement of the portal kicker drive after they got an offensive guy. But I don't care. They needed a kicker. They needed a punter.
Hey,
so
actually, I agree with the comment there. I don't care where the kicker comes from. Hopefully, it's from a team where they had to punt a lot. Mario says, "What's a better fit for Mattier, Miami or OU?" OU is because Arbuckle's there. OU is also a better fit because the assistant quarterback coach that's there. That's what I would say to that.
You can look at it from an outside point of view, and I don't like talking about Mattier because he's not in the portal. But from an outside perspective, OU has a lot in their favor. With the coaching, with the location closer to where he played high school ball, there's a lot that looks good for Oklahoma. But you got to have the money.
But Jason, hey, Jason, I agree. It's been kind of a ghost town when it comes to commits out of the portal. But let me ask you, it's not the only team that's not signing people right now. Look, I would think this, Jay. My guess is the staff is having meetings, and they've got a whiteboard or something, and they're saying, okay, here's the guys we really, really need to get. Here's some guys who aren't even in the portal yet, but there's rumblings that they might be. Here's some guys in the playoff to me, here's the problem. It's a difficult thing, Jay, because if you jump too early, if you just go after some early and you're not really sold on them, then you can't get someone later. It's hard, man. With that being said, I wish they would have landed a couple of guys like Luke Haas.
Who knows with Hayes Fawcett, it could be anything. I got to say something. A lot of the Arnold stuff, I'm not saying anything on Arnold until I see him play at another school. I don't think he was developed at OU. It's not fair to say he's done and he's not any good. I don't think he was developed at all. The fact of the matter is he was a really highly rated recruit. He's the highest recruit Auburn's ever signed, guys. He has talent. Now, I need to see if he goes to Auburn and flops and doesn't do anything, then obviously, yeah. But I think he could go to Auburn and be pretty good. So I don't want to sit here and say he's just done. Like a lot of people, I've watched a lot of stuff, and a lot of the OU people are saying, "Oh, he's done. He's done. He doesn't have this. He doesn't have that." Well, we'll see at Auburn. If he doesn't at Auburn, then then yeah, I think you could say that. But right now, you can't base it off who was his quarterback coach, guys.
Exactly.
I mean, who was his offensive coordinator?
Bobby is right. There are some definite advantages to go Miami with maybe what they have, that receiver O-line, things like that. Chuck says, Jay, you've been talking about for 2 weeks. Why are you saying not? And you can answer that in a second, Jay. But the receiver, I know Clyde Patton just put this in there, and I agree. There's a whole lot of receivers, and Hunter's right. OU's 0 for right now on the ones they've offered, which was Reggie Virgil, I believe, and put him in the chat, Hunter, who they offered. But I think there's plenty of receivers more so than maybe O-line group or something like that. You're up, Jay. You can answer this if you want.
I mean, I would just say it's all over the chat. Of course, we're going to talk about it, but I'm just saying I usually don't like talking about guys that aren't in the portal is all. I mean, we can talk about it, but we did not develop quarterback at all. That's right, John. Chuck's got the smiley face. Eric, when you're 5-star, you get so much benefit of the doubt. It's insane. You're right, Eric. That's a fact. I would agree with that comment, Eric. 5 stars.
But there's also a reason they're 5 stars.
Well, but there's also a lot of 5 stars that don't pan out. There's a little bit of both. And that's, I mean, but I also think a good quarterback coach and a good offensive coordinator can scheme things for a 3-star quarterback to play just as good as a 5-star. I mean, I think the 5-star stuff comes in when you have tight windows and everything to throw in. That's when it's in reading defenses. Now, I will say this. The one thing from Jackson Arnold that I think he's got to really improve upon at Auburn is reading the defenses. I think part of that came from just not being coached up. And I think somebody asked about Hugh Freeze earlier. Would you want your son to go play? You listen, I don't know a whole lot about Hugh Freeze personally, okay? I know he went to Liberty. I thought he kind of got everything together. But I do think Hugh Freeze can coach ball. I do on the offensive side. I do think that. But
hey, Tom says Hayes Fawcett dropped the double eye emoji. Kyle keeps popping in there and saying it is Miami Hurricane. We'll see what happens. The decision should be any time because he met with family this week. As far as something else I was going to get to, Jay, man, I lost it, man. This is frustrating. I lost it on here. Go ahead, Jay. Someone asked in the chat earlier.
John, I agree with you as far as Levy. He set his guys up for, I wouldn't say reading defenses. They would 1 or 2 read. It was done, and he had guys open. It was great scheme. And correct me if I'm wrong. Did you ever see Jackson Arnold play in a Levy offense? Really, only as a backup, only like mop up time. And remember what Levy tried to do with Jackson Arnold? He brought him in to run power run game. So you didn't really see it. You didn't really see it.
He did in the bowl game a little bit. He ran the Levy offense.
Hunter can probably answer that.
I know what I was going to say. It was the comment about Texas's schedule. If you guys looked at Oregon's, something has to be done across the country. Oregon's schedule next year, they stay away from Ohio State. They stay away from Michigan.
Yeah.
Like, it's a snooze fest. They play Penn State. That's it.
What do you do though, Jerm, on these conferences? They're too big. You can't.
I don't know. They've got to talk. There's got to be something where it's more randomly done, like drawing of a ping pong ball or.
You know, I heard the breakdown talk about this. This was a non-conference thing, but have the last place finisher in the SEC the year before have to play the last place finisher in the ACC, like the ACC SEC challenge, and you go all the way up as a non-con game.
They did this year, Eric. It doesn't mean they're going to next year.
What about divisions? What about divisions, Jeremy? Do you like it or not?
I don't know what the correct answer is, Mr. Dillagaff. Divisions can be whacked too. I think what I would like to see is you literally draw for schedules.
Oh, come on. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. You have some dumb things.
It's random at that point. It's random.
But there's a lot of dumb things you say all the time, but that's probably the worst. I mean, that's so dumb. And here you're sitting there whining about the schedule and how they get the teams. Jeremy, it's still kind of blind. You don't know what a team's going to be each year. You don't know if Ole Miss is going to be good.
But it's not random, Hunter. There's a commissioner of the conference who's picking who they play. I promise you that.
It's still kind of random. I would agree with Hunter on that. I would agree with Hunter a little bit on that. I don't like the random. I mean, let's just draw it out of a hat. You're going to get Mississippi State and Arkansas. I mean, Vanderbilt. Yay. I mean, come on. At least it's rotational. At least it's rotational, Jeremy.
We got Platoon 20 on the line. What's up, Platoon 20?
Hey, guys. I had thought about the conference scheduling. Texas had a really easy conference schedule this year. Unfortunately, we couldn't take advantage of that. It didn't really bite us because we were bad anyway. But here's what I would do. There's no way to predict what teams are going to be 2 or 3 years in advance. But you can play the odds by doing an internal seeding, and when they release the schedules 2 years later, guarantee that every SEC team plays 2 or whatever, say 2 of the top 5 SEC teams. Now, is that perfect? Does it mean that they could be great one year and terrible the next? Yeah, that could happen, but I think that would give more fairness balance than there is now, because teams like Georgia played everybody in the top 6 or 7 besides themselves, and Texas played like one of them. And so I think that the SEC and the other conferences need to do some kind of internal seeding. They can keep it secret or whatever they want to do. That's fine. But since they have to pick it 2 years in advance, just make an educated guess on who the top teams are going to be, seed them, and then guarantee that every SEC team plays at least 2 of them or 3 of them, whatever the number is. And that's the best way you can do it. I don't know what they want to do besides that.
Yeah. The other thing I might do, Platoon, would be, so right now they're on this 2-year window where like OU now this year plays the same schedule, but their road or their home games, right? Instead of doing it on a 2-year window, just change it every year. Is that kind of what you're saying? So last year they played these teams, the next year they play the other teams, and then you're at least within a time frame of those teams probably being good.
And look, I was wrong.
This year, OU did not play Arkansas last year. This year they should play Arkansas.
Obviously, they're not going to do the random drawing, and that was probably a dumb take. I say it, okay?
It was a dumb take.
I do like what
probably
Platoon 20
it was a dumb
said.
take. Dumb take.
Like, I mean, it'd be nice where every team has to play, the top couple, and then you reevaluate who the top couple of teams are every couple of years.
Okay, but if you took OU's schedule last year, Hunter, I don't know if you can drop this in for me. Drop the teams they didn't play and put them in the schedule this year. Instead of doing it every 2 years, just alternate it every year.
I agree.
So
like Mississippi State, Vanderbilt, they would be an OU schedule.
Arkansas.
That's 3.
And you would
Florida.
You would play Georgia and you would play Florida. Why can't you just alternate every year?
I don't know, Jay.
Because then you don't get this 2-year window.
Kentucky would be 6.
Yeah. That's your schedule.
You wouldn't get enough games. There still have to be a couple more you'd have to play 2 years in a row.
I understand there'd be some, but you could at least get the majority. It's the same schedule as last year right now. That's why I wish they would change. But let's get to Chester.
Or get rid of non-con.
Hey, y'all. I didn't want to call in tonight because there's really nothing to talk about at the moment because nothing's going on. But I see people, they're upset about the tough schedule. I love the tough schedule. And I'm going to tell you why I love it. It's going to toughen us up. It's going to make them one day realize, hey, we got to be mean and dirty like the rest of them. What you think about that?
Yeah, the problem is they may get toughened up and never be in the playoff.
Eventually, the schedule will get thinner.
It will. It will.
Because, they're going to go to the pod system, which is what they were supposed to do, I thought, initially. But my question is, who do the fans in chat want us to be in a pod with? For me, it's Fexus. And I know y'all ain't going to like this, but I wish it was Fexus, LSU, and Alabama because those are 3 great recruiting grounds.
It is, but wouldn't you like Arkansas, though, too?
No, absolutely not.
Why? Because they're not very good, you think? Or
there's no history there. The only history there was Benny Owen days. Arkansas fans were shooting at our players on the field. That's why that game didn't get played much, by the way, in case y'all don't know.
No, I've heard that, but I like the Texas, LSU, Alabama. I mean, I like the
reason why is these are 3 big time schools that have big time recruiting. I mean, could you imagine if we could finally get them Southern boys from Louisiana and Mississippi into our program?
Yeah, it'd be nice. It'd be great. Winning
wasn't that where Rufus was from, Louisiana?
I can't remember. He might have been, but winning will cure all, Chester. That's what we got to do.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
we gotta win.
But I personally love the tough schedule. I mean,
Hey, I like it too,
why would we
Chester.
cancel a Michigan game?
Hey.
I think we've played them once in history, and that was Orange Bowl.
Chester, I like it
Yeah.
too, but let me ask you a question.
Uh,
If it's not going to benefit you for the playoff, why do it? Why do you want it every year?
well, let's not forget these games were scheduled back in the old days. The games used to be scheduled 10 years ahead of time. We didn't know we were going to be in SEC.
I get it, but what I'm saying is for the playoff part of it, if you have a tougher schedule and you got another SEC team playing nobody, that's
the problem.
Well, I've always said, can we please bring back the computers? And I always get bashed in chat for not here, but
I
over
agree
the
with
years.
you, Chester.
I mean, the
agree with
computers takes out human emotion. I mean, and it really registers in the strength of schedule. You know, that really helped us back in the day when the Big 12 was the toughest. A lot of these younger guys don't know that the Big 12 was the toughest up until about 2010.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Thanks,
Hey,
Chester.
thanks for calling,
Appreciate you
Chester.
every night.
Appreciate you calling in, bud. I
I
agree
like
with you.
Hey, wait, Jay. Wait, I like the computers, and what you said is right, Jay. I love playing LSU, Bama. Would love to say OU, Georgia. The problem is if it's not a level playing field, it's kind of to me. If it's going to hurt you, because here's what the deal is: it didn't even help them. Teams that went 9-3 in the SEC, even though their schedule was tougher, they didn't get in, Jay.
Okay, but Jerm,
you to play the tougher games.
You sitting here laughing, it's almost laughable. You sitting here talking about computers now, because I was with you when the computers and the BCS was out. You hated it. You hated it.
I hated that there were two teams, Jess.
Well, OU always got the benefit of the doubt in the computers.
It was based on strength of schedule and all kinds of other things, Jay.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, Eric. OU got the benefit of doubt in that. South Carolina should have been in. Yeah, you could go down that road. I'm ready for this weekend, though, guys. This is something we've waited years for. College football.
It's going to be exciting, man.
It's going to be great. I'm hoping for some upsets. I'm hoping for somebody new to win the national championship. Do you think Oregon
This is a great comment. This is a great comment. People needed to see human error to realize computers is a perfect model.
Yeah.
Hey, Indiana Notre Dame is one of the biggest ones I'm excited for, and it's Friday night. Friday night.
And some of these comments are great because I even think if the computer was back, you would still have people left out. Just like Eric said on the Alabama-Auburn thing. It's never going to be a perfect system. But, and I don't know what is the most important thing. If we had the Surgeaholics all in a room figuring out the playoff committee,
we would never be able to agree on anything.
We wouldn't be able to agree. If it was just me and you, probably not. But what I'm saying is, what would be your number one thing? If all teams were equal, what would you go off of? I'd go off one thing. What would you go off of? If all teams were equal as far as record, who would you pick?
Wait, you're saying everyone had the same exact record?
I'm saying, what would be your determining factor on putting teams in? Give me one reason.
Head-to-head's one.
No, I'm not talking head-to-head. They haven't played each other.
Oh, so they haven't played each other. Then I guess you would have to go strength of schedule.
I think it's eye test. Eye test.
What?
Yeah, to me, that's what. Yeah, I would pick off what I see, Jerm.
Define it. Define eye test right now.
When I'm watching a football game, if I think they're going to beat the other team that it should be going against to be in.
Oh, my goodness.
Jerm,
I've said some dumb things. That may take the cake.
No, Jerm, you are ridiculous if you don't think the playoff committee is really voting on who they think would some of these teams will win. I think they do. I think they do.
Eye test over strength of schedule. Wait, you're telling me everyone has the same record. You're not going off strength of schedule?
It's pretty obvious I'd be going off strength of schedule on eye test, Jerm. South Carolina, I saw them play in the SEC. I know they're better than SMU.
Were they better than Bama, Jay?
Yeah.
You said they should go over Bama. Were they better than Bama?
Yeah, they were.
They didn't beat them. They didn't beat them.
I know they didn't, Jerm. They barely lost to them on the road.
And if we're going to eye test, I guarantee you Bama and Georgia look better than anyone else out there.
And all I'm saying, guys, is I'm saying at the end of the year, like who's playing the best at the end of the year. I think they do that for basketball, Jerm. They always put who's playing best at the end of the year, do they not?
RPI is so looked into in strength of schedule in
Now,
basketball.
I agree. They have a statistical thing that matters, RPI.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think, and they also have tier 1 wins and tier 2 wins, or whatever they call it, quad 1, quad 2. They need some of that for the playoff.
Hey, and Richard, I agree with you. And here's what's going to happen. Bama was left out, Jay. SMU was put in. If SMU lays an egg, that does not bode well for ACC and Big 12 and conferences like that next year. Would you agree?
I would agree, but let me ask you this. I don't understand this. And Hunter, maybe you can answer, even if you want to jump on and answer. I know you're a numbers guy galore. You know all that stuff. Maybe you can answer this for us. Why is there an RPI in baseball and basketball, but they can't figure one out for football?
But there is a strength of schedule, Jay. There's just not that exact.
Why is there not an RPI for football?
There may be. Does Jerry Palm do one for football?
I don't know. I don't know if Hunter knew that. And Juan Blero says Jay is right, though. Any seating is done by eyeball test. All things else being equal. It has to be part of
Jay,
it.
who won the eye test, Ohio State or Michigan?
Sure.
Who won the eye test?
If it's not the eye test, why do they sit in a hotel room for days watching football?
They're watching games.
Why did Florida State not get in last year, Jerm?
Didn't pass the eye test. Then a quarterback, I guess.
Thank you. They didn't pass the eye test. Hey, Hunter, it looked like you jumped on here for a sec. I don't know if you had something to say or not.
Hey, Hunter brought in a name in the Discord, Jay. Keon Brown, former Sooner commit.
Hey, that's not going to happen. I just was a name I saw. He's still kicking it in JUCO. So I would agree, Jay, as what you asked about, as to what Joe said. Not enough games. I think that's the biggest thing is determining it, because the only way then it would be fair is if you're trying to balance out the schedules the best way you can so that teams have an equal shot at it. Because then it goes back to kind of strength of schedule and all that. I mean, you look at OU, like the schedule that they have for 2025, Michigan, a blue blood program, and then the gauntlet in the SEC. You look at another team that might have a similar, like, played just as well and all of that, but they're, because of their schedule, which is out of their control, their RPI is going to be significantly different. I think it should maybe be a metric that's used, not the end-all, be-all, because you're looking at a 12-game schedule versus a, 30-ish game schedule in college basketball. And, 56 games in college baseball, 55 games. So, yeah, that's a lot of it.
Hey, I 100% agree with DJ here, guys. A 16-team playoff and NIL cap is probably what's needed to save college football. Although some people would say, why would it need to be saved? Right now, everyone's watching it. It's a money-making machine right now.
Hey, let me ask you this. Somebody said something about SMU. If SMU in the regular season would have played Miami and Clemson, are they in the playoff right now?
No. They'd have too many losses. They'd have 3 losses, Jay.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so you're not taking the 12 best teams. It's the 12 most deserving teams. Is that what we're doing?
Well, no, because last year it wasn't the most deserving.
Yeah, and we got a bunch on here. Please hit the like. It would be awesome if we could get a bunch of likes. I don't care. You can hit a dislike.
I don't really care if they hit the like.
If you can hit a dislike, I don't care.
Jay, let me ask you this, and maybe in the poll, maybe we could even have a poll real quick to close this thing out tonight, Jay.
Well, I want to answer this first. Ron's asked it like 2 or 3 times. He's asking, where do I think OU would have finished this year in the Big 12?
3rd.
Well, OU finished 6-6. I think the most wins that I think probably would have been 8-4, probably 7-5. I just think the offense was abysmal. The offense wasn't good. The offensive coordinator got fired after 4 games? It wasn't good. Okay. So I don't think it would have equaled that much better. They would have probably got maybe 1 more win for sure, maybe 2 max. I think.
Hey,
I just
DJ,
they had too many offensive problems.
DJ,
hey,
I definitely won't.
I don't mind going a little bit longer tonight. That's fine.
We can go longer. Hey, I definitely won't be yelling at someone to hit the like because I'm not about that kind of stuff. Okay. Hey, Jay, and maybe we can drop this in the chat if Hunter would like to do that. A poll: will John Mattier be the quarterback at OU by Wednesday? people's thoughts on that. Second of all, and this doesn't even Paul, just John says yes tomorrow. Look, if he met with his family and Wazoo's already given up kind of what their package is going to be, there's no time, there's no use to wait. I mean, it's done. It's done. It's just where's it going to be? When's it going to be announced? How's it going to be announced? Who's it going to be to? Hopefully it's OU. Chester voted no. He's not in the portal, correct?
Correct. Not in the portal yet.
But do you think can a guy hit the portal and then the same day announce where he's going?
He can. I mean, who was it? I'm
trying to think of someone that did that.
Williams Ranieri announced it within a day that he was going.
That's why I think Tuesday.
Chester
thinks Miami. I do think the Sooners will land Jjiren Bradley this week. I do think they'll land Jjiren Bradley.
Hey, Sooner Thrawn, thanks for joining tonight. Appreciate you. We do this every night at 9:30. Thanks for joining. Says, was so glad SMU got in because teams like Bama were cheating like SMU. They get the death penalty for stuff. Other teams doing it. Now that's legal. Screw Bama. I think a lot of people wanted SMU to get in because you have the Bama, like everybody's tired of Bama. People are tired of Georgia. But now here's the thing. SMU got in. They got to go win a game. Now, they actually got a pretty good draw. And right now, I'd love to see what these people on here are thinking, but right now I'm picking Notre Dame to win the Natty. I'd love to know what people are thinking. That's who I'm picking.
I like Notre Dame, their physicality, but Kurt Signetti, you just never know that first game. I do like Boise State and Arizona State to upset someone because they're running it, and Notre Dame for that. The running attack to me is a game changer when you can pound the ball. Now, I do think Boise's quarterback's a little bit underrated.
Hey, first off, you don't know that Notre Dame's playing Indiana. So
what?
Is that it? Oh, yeah, never mind. Sorry.
What are you talking about?
I was thinking Penn State SMU. I had a little brain lapse, Jerm. Jeez. Sorry.
Chester says 1.5 mil is not enough. Actually, it may be enough. I don't know what's enough for that guy. I can't speak for the kid. If he doesn't commit to OU, Houston, we have a problem. Who is Jjiren Bradley, Tom? Look, Tom, I'm answering your question here, and I don't know if you hit the like or not. And I'm still answering it. Why? Because I'm intrigued by it. Who's Jjiren Bradley? He played at Tech for 2 years, I think, Jay. 2 years.
He had a really good game against OU his freshman year, I believe.
Really good game against OU his freshman year. Great physical size that he's got. He's physical. There was even talk early in his career that this guy could maybe move to tight end. He's not. 2 good years at Tech. Emmett Jones and him have a relationship, so there's that. He transferred. When he first transferred from Tech, I think a lot of people thought he might come to OU at that point. He didn't. He goes to Boston College. I think he had 9 catches. It's a weird season. And now he's back in the portal, so he is going to take a visit to OU. I would be shocked if they don't land Jjiren Bradley. Go look up Jjiren Bradley highlights, his freshman and sophomore season. I think you'll be pretty impressed. Of course, I would be impressed with any highlight reel. You know why, Jay? They're called highlight reels. It kind of bothers me when people say, man, check out his highlights. Yeah, that's the best of the best. That's like a movie that's only got the funny parts in the trailer, okay? You can't be that guy. If all your big plays on your highlight reel, that's not someone you should go after, probably.
Yeah. Hey, I got a trivia for everybody that's on here. Trivia question. Dow Post 1 and trivia. Here we go. First off, before I do it, make sure you go to the Fan Stop. Check them out, www.thefanstop.com. Great officially licensed gear for a bunch of teams, not just OU. So go check them out. You see it rolling across the bottom. It's code SURGE for 10% off. Here we go. Trivia of the night. Who scored the first touchdown for OU this year?
I got it.
You got it?
Oh, yeah. It'll be quick. This will be quick.
I think it'd be quick.
I'm not out of
There it is. Chester.
Bauer Sharp. MVP
Bauer.
of the season.
I remember everybody after that saying, woo, OU's got a tight end, baby. OU's got a tight end.
School is not closed. No. We still got school. Hey, someone said I think it was Sooner Thrawn. Marvin Jones Jr. If you can get Marvin Jones Jr. and Kendall Daniels on defense, bring in a defensive back as well, that is a pretty good get on those three. James Thompson at defensive tackle, maybe.
Hey, one thing too is now you're at a Chester OG. You're at a week now of the portal. The portal opened last Monday. Doesn't it not seem like it opened 3 weeks ago? This is the longest week ever, portal-wise, if you're an OU fan. But now you're at a weekend. Kind of a lot of damage has been done from Oklahoma. A lot of guys have left. Give me a number, Germ. Over, under 5 more from the portal for OU. Do they lose 5 more? That's the number. Over, under that. Before it closed on the 28th.
I would say that number exactly.
Well, that's why I said it, Germ. I'm like Vegas, bro. That's why I said it.
You're like Vegas.
Sine says over. Over.
A lot of people saying the over.
Over.
Yep. Caleb Hicks
Under.
at OSU. Good spot for him. Good spot for him.
I agree. That's a good spot for him, actually.
To me, there are some names that you cannot lose. I can think about 10 of them, Jay, that you just – and I still think coaches are doing that, Jay. I think coaches are in meetings and saying, these are guys we cannot lose. These are guys that, maybe have talked about it, that if they go, okay. But there's some guys you just cannot afford to lose. And there's a lot of them, actually.
There are. I mean, there's guys more than other, but they still – Hunter, I don't know if you talked about the other night, OU's at – they can get 9 scholarship guys right now, if it's still that way. I can't remember. Or did Burks change? I think it's 9 still. They have 9 scholarships to give.
9 scholarship guys.
There it is. So they have 9 more guys they can get right now if everything stayed the same. They have 9 more scholarships. But don't they still have to lose some more to get to the 105, like walk-ons and stuff, if I remember right?
Yes.
But so you would think some of those guys would hit the portal.
Yeah, I mean,
okay, so
I'm hoping.
So if they get 9 with the punter, that would put them at 113. They would have to lose 8 more.
Correct.
I think that pretty much tells you the number will be over 5.
You're probably right, Jay. You're probably right. That's some good math. I'm not a math guy.
I'm pretty good at math every once in a while.
I'm an English guy. Hey, listen, everyone that's on here, this is not a Sunday night. This is Sunday Night Live, Sooner Surge 9:30. But this is something we do each and every night. We'll be on Monday night, Tuesday night, any day that ends in Y. We're on here to talk with the Surgeaholics. Chester, I'm not one for processing Helms. I think Helms can be valuable still. That's me. That's personally, I think he could still be a valuable asset to the tight end room.
Hey, and I would say too,
but I want to see Devon Mitchell in the bowl game, all game.
Yeah, and force. It's going to be Joe John. Joe John Lee's calling plays for the bowl game. So,
and I don't think Joe John Finley will be on staff next year.
I don't know if he will be either, Jim. I'm saying for the bowl game he will. I'll say this too: if you hit the subscribe button, then you know when we go live, which it does help because there are times we kind of just either will go live at a different time throughout the year. So please subscribe to the channel. When is the deadline date to be at 105? Wasn't that August, Hunter? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Hunter will drop it in August. Hunter is the GOAT when it comes to this kind of stuff.
Yeah, give Hunter a clap. He's been running the chat and everything. So
Gregory McCrary says that we need Natty Patty to take over the O for the bowl game. Gregory McCrary, thanks for bringing up Natty Patty because as softball season gets here closer, we do softball lives as well. We'll be covering it all. I can't wait for softball season either. It's fun to watch. Keeps everything going through the summer. Joe says he'll take the under.
There it is. So
bravo, Hunter. Hey, yeah, thanks to Hunter who helps in the chat so much. Does a lot of things for the channel that you don't see. He's the guy who you don't see a lot, but does a whole lot for the Sooner Surge. Thank you, Surgeaholics, for being on with us tonight. Great chats tonight. Great calls. We appreciate you all. Cannot wait for the playoff this upcoming week. And also cannot wait to see OU gets on the portal. Hopefully some good news tomorrow and early this week. We will see you tomorrow night. Have a marvelous Monday, Sooner Nation.
Why do you always have to put?
Because I always rhyme it, Jay. Because I like alliterations. I like alliterations.
By the way, the question about the date the portal closes is December 28th. So there it is.
Have a manic Monday, marvelous Monday, momentous Monday. Oh, you need some momentum? We'll see you later.